Hi there everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Dissidia, Final Fantasy Opera Omnia Should You Pull. Now, there's a lot coming out on the 10th of October this week. We've got multiple banners coming out, multiple events coming out that will enable us to get loads of resources. So I'm actually going to break this down into two videos. This one is going to cover both the startup banner and the story banner that's going to come out that's going to feature Noel EX, Locke EX and Noctis. And then the second video will feature the Crystal Awakenings Patch 3 banner, which will consist of Sarah, Ace and Aerith. Locke is also included on that badge as an Awakening, but he's actually in this banner that I'll be talking about in this video rather than the other one. Now, there's a lot of buzz going around about Noel. There's a lot of interesting things going about. Locke's going to get a rework as well, but we also have to bear in mind that EX Plus is going to be arriving soon. So if you guys want to find out a little bit more about how Locke and Noel work now, or whether Noel is going to come in and change up the meta just before EX Plus comes around, then stay tuned and keep on watching. Don't forget to check out all of my social media links in the description box below, including my Facebook, my Twitter, my Discord and my Twitch channel, which I shall leave all of my scheduling on the right hand side here so that you can come and see when and where I stream. Although this week I'm actually going to be streaming tomorrow or Thursday the 10th of October instead of the Friday, because obviously we have all of these wonderful banners coming out then. Also, I don't want to let you guys forget about the giveaways that I'm currently doing, so if you want to check out the links in the description box below, you've still got plenty of time to go and enter those. So we've got my Cactuar giveaway, which is more appealing to the FFTCG community, and I also have a hand-drawn Sephiroth Portrait that I have drawn personally and will frame and send out to whoever the winner is. Don't forget to check out DissidiaDB.com for all of your resources and needs when it comes to Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. And of course, don't forget to check out all of the other content creators for this game. There's lots of us, and we all appreciate your clicks, your views, your likes, your subscribes, everything to do with that. Before I go into the story banner, which will have Locke and Noel in it, I do want to make a quick mention to the startup banner, which will feature Cloud EX, Squall EX, and Lightning EX. Now, a triple EX banner is always nice, but how valuable are these to a player that's coming in? Now, if you're new to the game, then this banner will be live for you the first week that you're playing the game, but obviously for the rest of us who have been playing the game for a little while, it's only going to be about for a short while. Now, I would, to sum it all up, despite the fact that it's a triple EX banner, I would avoid putting resources into this past the initial free pull. If you get one of the EXs on this banner, fantastic. I'd be really happy about it, especially if it's Cloud. Squall I wouldn't go out of my way for because he comes with Ultimecia, which is a banner that a large number of players are going to be pulling on. Lightning I wouldn't pull on because she doesn't get her EX Plus for a very long time, and when she does, she comes back on an amazing banner, which is herself, Shadow and Hope EX, and Hope is one of the top tier support characters alongside Lightning, becoming a really strong character as well. So despite the fact that if you can pick it up here, great for later, you're probably going to want to pick it up when the banner is much more relevant. And then Cloud EX is really good, especially once he gets his EX Plus. If anything, he's actually the weakest of the three right now, but his EX Plus is it's the first EX Plus, and it's really strong. But you could always pick this off of the free EX shop that we've got, and if you wanted to know more about that, then I'll definitely leave a link in the description box below for all of my recommendations when it comes to the EX shop. But he also does come back as the first EX Plus character alongside Vincent. So while you could pull on this if you wanted to try and get Cloud, I think there are better times to pull for each of these characters, and at no point do you absolutely have to have Squall, really. Lightning you're not going to use for a really long time, and Cloud is really strong, but there is a better banner to pull him on, and you could pull for any of these characters in the EX shop if you wanted to, but if I were going to pick one of the three, it would be Cloud. So if you get one in the free pull, be really happy about it. Past that, I'd probably leave it. Now, as we know, Noctis has been kind of tearing up the shreds of the Cosmos era pretty heavily since his rework and his Lost Chapter. But on this banner, he doesn't actually come with his EX weapon, which is really quite problematic for him. I won't go into too much detail as to why he really struggles without it, but it basically needs to keep up his Armaga as much as possible, and being able to sort of add 3 stacks of Armaga straight away, even though Conjure Armaga itself actually isn't all that strong, the fact that you can get to 5 stacks of Armaga without having to go through pretty much all of your Warp Strike uses to get to it is pretty invaluable because he gets his HP attack ++, which is extremely powerful. Certainly up until Chaos, because after Chaos he does fall off very heavily. And I do want to reiterate that despite the fact that Noctis was quite high up in my recommendation for the EX shop, I would not recommend grabbing him after Chaos arrives because he does fall off quite significantly. My recommendation for him was for carrot players who were struggling to beat the content at the time, or are struggling to beat content at this time. So if you're really on the catch up, then maybe you'll want Noctis just to go through various different parts of the event, and if you get his 15 and 35 from this event, then great, that will be a reason for you to grab his EX. But if not, I wouldn't be pulling on this for any other reason. I wouldn't be pulling on this for Noctis for any other reason than you really just want to complete the character. Now Locke is returning with his EX weapon this time around, and he does get a slight rework by the looks of things that actually fix a lot of problems for Locke, because the problem that Locke had before is that he just had a really fast turn rate and just didn't do very much damage. He just didn't really optimize his kit very much. So for players who already have his EX, they'll have the rework to look forward to. But whether it's worth pulling for now, we'll have a look at. So Locke is a bit weird. So he's got a little bit of RNG in his kit. When you use Sneak Slash, you get a buff called Thief Gloves, which turns your Brave attack into Mug. So when you use Mug, you either get Thief Gloves or Genji, or you either get Genji Gloves or you get Miracle Shoes, which change your HP attack depending on which one you got. So what Genji Gloves does is turn your HP attack into a pretty strong overflowing HP attack, and what Miracle Shoes does is turns your HP attack into a sort of faster, doesn't add towards your turn count HP attack, again to keep people like Lightning or Vayne. But Sneak Slash itself didn't have an HP attack attached to it originally, and the rework means that it does. So it does make it significantly better, and it's got Brave Overflow on it, which is nice. And then Sneak Slash also turns into Sneak Slash Plus when you use it, so if the target is hit, it moves the turn right before their turn, so very similar to Noctis, but it does get rid of any Genji Shoes or Miracle Shoes that you might have and gives you Sneak Slash back after you use it. But you also get 2 turns worth of the Genji Gloves or Miracle Shoes, depending on which one you get from the RNG, which is, it's certainly a nice thing to have. And then if you have a gear, then basically his 15 CP just makes it so that Thief's Gloves last for a bit longer, so you have a little bit more time to use Mug, so that if you need to use other abilities beforehand, you actually can do that. And then Phoenix Ray is actually a lot more simple comparatively to Sneak Slash, because it's just a Brave HP attack, AoE, it's quite nice, or AoE Bravery attack, a single target HP, that raises the it basically can overflow up to 150% now, which is really, really useful. But it also heals your party for a decent amount, and it up to 20% of the max HP. So you get a little bit of everything when it comes to Locke. You get a little bit of healing, you get a little bit of dispelling and things like that. You get a little bit of buff, debuff. He does actually have some nice sort of auras as well, because he also gets from his level 65 passive Item Steal, which is actually a useful Crystal 65 passive, because it's got a Dispel on it, and it gives him straight away either Genji Gloves or Miracle Shoes, depending on which one you need, or depending on which one it gives you. So you don't actually have to use Sneak Slash and then use Mug and then get Genji Gloves. It's, he gets a lot of buffs as well. Like I said, Thief's Gloves, which is what he gets from using Sneak Slash, raises his Max Brave, his attack, and his speed. And then he gets, a little bit of HP regen, a Bravery regen off of Miracle Shoes. He raises his attack. But if we look at his Crystal passives as well, then you'll see that he does also have raised party Max Bravery and Speed while buffed, and also Max Bravery and attack with his Crystal 58. And then he's got just some nice little bits of everything. So very similar to characters like Paladin Cecil, but obviously for this day and age. He's got quite a nice little kit that will round out a team for whatever role you need him for. He's got Dispelling, he's got Healing, he's got a bit more damage now. He does very nice things. Now Locke's Assassin's Dagger gives him Mirage Dive. Now Mirage Dive, honestly, in my opinion, is one of the coolest looking EX weapons in the game, or EX attacks in the game, if nothing else. But it's quite simple. It's a 7-hit melee Brave HP attack that can overflow 150% and gives him a buff that raises Max Bravery attack and speed, and then either gives him Brave regen or HP regen at the end of his turn. But the thing I like about this is, I like the recast rate on it. If you've got Selfie or anything like that, then you'll be able to use this really frequently, and it's quite strong. Then if you also look at the 3 out of 3 limit break, it tremendously raises break bonus gained by the party after breaking enemy. Now this is by 100% and does actually stack with Bahamut if you're using Bahamut. So if you wanted to, you could kind of build your party around that. You could use the aura from Selfie so that he can get his recast rate on his Mirage Dive that much faster, because it will really like accentuate his kit, because if he has Genji gloves on, he's got more attack, and it's quite a big boost in attack as well from Genji gloves. So if you're able to keep that up, then you get quite a lot out of it. He's just got a really nice and well-rounded kit. There's nothing particularly major about it. One thing he does do as well, actually, is similar to Lion, he does a lot more damage to a target that's not targeting him. So if you've got Warrior of Light, for example, or Zac, or anyone that has the Locke mechanic and makes it so they have to target them, it means they're not targeting your Locke, which means he's doing a lot more damage. So bear that in mind as well when you're building him. Quickly looking at his EX Plus, which we're not going to see until his Lost Chapter, which is a bit later on. It's important to note as well that the event we get with Locke is a rerun of his original event. There's no extra bonuses from doing it. There's no extra pull-on lock or banner that comes with it. It's just to make it so that he's obviously a part of the story chapter that's coming out, and a lot of players who perhaps didn't come into the game until later might not have Locke because they weren't around for his original event. But because the game's progressed quite quickly, they've managed to put him in a story chapter before releasing his actual Lost Chapter. They've managed to put him in the story before then, so they wanted to give a way to make sure that everyone had ability to get Locke during that chapter. So his EX Plus basically just makes it so he has a third item to add into the mix for his HP attacks. He gets a Master Scroll, which does a double HP Bravery attack that it can have up to 120% max Bravery and does more damage when not targeting him to an enemy that's not targeting him, like all of his attacks do. And then he can start the quest with his Treasure Hunter and Master Scroll buffs at the beginning of the quest, gets more attack, and then Mirage Dive becomes a 12-hit attack that's split into, so 2 6-hit Brave HP attacks that has a little bit of splash damage on it. So it's a nice EX Plus. It's certainly not a game-breaking one, but again, any EX Plus is better than no EX Plus if you ask me. Now Noel is also a fairly complicated character, but he looks more complicated than he is. So looking at just the skills themselves with no addition, you have Tempest Strike, which is a Brave HP attack that's also Ice and Wind Elemental, and you have Gale Fang, which is another Brave HP attack that grants him a buff called Last Hunter that raises his max Bravery, his attack, and his defense. He also, with his Crystal 65 passive, gets Shaving Slash, which is half your opponent's bravery, then do a brave attack, and then raises his attack for 2 turns. Actually quite nice to have as a 65 passive. And then, if you get his gear, Tempest Blow Tempest Strike, or Tempest Blow, however they end up calling it, will give an additional stack of Last Hunter and make it so it lasts longer, and then Gale Fang will also grant more Last Hunter. I think you can go up to a maximum of 3 stacks of Last Hunter that will buff his stats. And then when you get into his sort of crystal passives, he has a very slight party aura, like he can raise max bravery and speed, but a lot of his buffs are for himself. So do take that into account, but his EX also does give him more of a party aura. And then Tempest Strike, when you use the extend on it, starts to work a bit like Vayne, in that all of his stuff relies on your opponent being broken or breaking them before you do something. Tempest Strike turns into Tempest Strike Plus if they're already broken, and then like Vayne, it resets their break status and then breaks them again. So it also raises the number of brave hits to 4, which is always good. More hits is always good, no matter what the ability is. If it increases the number of bravery hits it does, it's usually a really strong buff. And then it also has an 120% max bravery overflow. And then Gale Fang already can go over to 150% max bravery, but if they're broken, so a lot of Noel's kit wants your opponent to be broken, either by him or by somebody else before he starts using his skills, and he gets Gale Fang Plus, which is a much stronger version that can overflow up to 180%, which is pretty massive. But while Last Hunter is active, so really, you want to break your opponent with someone other than Noel first, so that Gale Fang will grant the Last Hunter buff while being extra powerful with Gale Fang Plus. But once you've got Last Hunter, you get your bravery attack and your HP attack change into Fear Siphon and Scourge. Now Fear Siphon is actually really nice as well, because what it does is it sets up a situation where Noel is able to break a target in a way that actually benefits him very well. Because it makes, when you're attacking a broken target or breaking the target, it speeds it up, but it also doesn't consume the ability use on the next turn if you break them. So that's actually pretty huge for Noel, because it extends his longevity massively, and is actually a really nice use of a bravery attack, because in all honesty, with a large number of characters, there aren't very many situations, apart from really difficult content, where you use brave attacks that don't have HP attacks attached to them. Certainly not in the day and age of Warrior of Light. And then you also get Scourge, which is a one-hit brave HP attack that can overflow over up to 120%, but you also get Scourge Plus if they're broken, and you get 2 brave hits, and then you get 150% max bravery instead of 120. So Noel is kind of somewhere between Vayne and Noctis. So he does a very large amount of damage. He does kind of the break-unbreak mechanics of Vayne, but he does it in such a way that benefits only himself. So if you've got those kind of characters, then you kind of have your bases covered with this. But Noel is actually a pretty strong character, and a lot of people are excited for him. And we haven't actually covered his EX yet, so let's take a look at that. So as you can see here, Guardian's Edge grants the attack Meteor Javelin. Now Meteor Javelin, again, is a normal recast rate EX attack, which is always nice, because if you've got the limit break, it actually goes pretty quick. If you have Selfie, it goes even quicker, so you end up with a fast recast rate, a lot similar to Scepter and Quistis. 3-hit bravery or HP attack repeated 4 times, which is a lot, let's be honest, which ignores defense completely. The bravery goes up to 120%, like many attacks do these days, and you also get 20% total HP damage to non-targets at the last HP attack. So that's all of them combined together at the last minute. You also, if you're attacking a broken target, get to change it to a Meteor Javelin Plus, which is very much the same, but instead of 20% spread damage, it does 50% instead, which is, it's a very powerful attack. 4 triple hits is very strong. If you set up a situation where he's attacking somebody broken, because you always want to be attacking somebody broken with Noel, or breaking them with Fear Siphon so you don't consume ability uses and keep his longevity up, you're always wanting to get the maximum amount of damage out of him possible. He's, like I said, somewhere between Vayne and Noctis is the best way to look at Noel. You also, when limit breaking it, get another framed buff, which is actually a party aura, called the Power to Seize the Future, which raises party max bravery and attack, and does kind of double stacks it for himself. So he gets stronger after using Meteor Javelin. Meteor Javelin is an exceptional attack. It is. There's no two ways about it. It hits really hard. It's got a fast recast, or a decently fast recast rate. It sort of complements the rest of his kit very well, and it synergizes very well with other characters that work in a way that will give Noel more power. The only issue I have with Noel is that he's literally just around the corner from EX Plus and isn't named Charlotta, unfortunately. So while I think Noel is extremely powerful at this point in time, and he will actually do quite well at the very, very early stages of Chaos, because he hits so hard, it's difficult to say. I like this banner, and because there's a free pull on it, if you get Noel EX on a free pull, you should be absolutely jumping for joy. If you get Locke EX, I'd be pretty happy about it too. But when it comes to spending resources on this banner, yeah, it's a tough one, that's for sure. Now, when Noel's EX Plus comes around, it's actually a bit of a disappointment compared to a lot of characters that come around the same sort of time as his Lost Chapter does. So you get you get max brave overflow limit buff to Power to Seize the Future for himself, not for his party. He gets all of his sort of frame buffs at the beginning of the fight. When the quest starts, you get more power on Meteor Javelin, and then when you've got both of his buffs active, so at the start of the fight, you get Fear Siphon Plus, which reduces target 2/5 of or 2/3 of your opponent's max bravery go off with just brave attacking. Hits 4 times. And it still has the same effect where you break your opponent, it's faster, and you don't consume your ability use on the next turn. Still doesn't have an HP attack on it though, so it's like, not sure about it. It's like he comes out with Caius, he comes back with Caius's event, and he's good. There's just much better characters by the time that his EX Plus comes around. So if you really want to use Noel, now's probably the best time to do it, because chances are when he comes back, there's probably characters you own that might be better at the time. In terms of returning banners, as you can see, Locke actually comes back fairly soon. He comes back with his own Lost chapter, which will be just after Lise comes out with his Stoller EX and Agrius' banner returns. You know, you can see it's actually not that far away. I want to give it maybe like 2 months, if that, before we see Locke's Lost chapter again. Noel, on the other hand, we've got a way to go. We're going to be going all the way down to Caius, who's just here, who is kind of right near the end of this sort of era of time. And to be honest, I thought that we were going to have the next tier of weapon come out by now in JP, and we actually haven't. And Caius and Noel are quite good. They're not incredible characters, which depresses me to no end, because Caius is one of my favourite characters in the franchise. But if you wanted to make the most out of Noel, now probably is the best time to do it, because, as I said earlier, because his EX Plus is fairly underwhelming when it comes to characters around him. I mean, you've got Leo that comes out not long before him, who's extremely good. The Lightning, Shadow, and Hope banner that I spoke about earlier comes out just before he does. There's a lot of times that resources are going to be quite intensive, and the same goes for Locke, realistically. If you've just pulled for Ultimecia, you might still be reeling from that. I mean, he does come back with Sellers EX Plus, so if you're a big fan of Sellers, then maybe wait for that and see what you can come through with that. But generally speaking, I think this banner is really enticing, but I think the wiser option is to wait. So what's my opinion on these banners in total? Like, do I think that you should pull on these two? Like I said earlier, with the startup banner, I'd say no, straight up, because if you get something for free off this banner, then great. If not, I really wouldn't worry about it. You can always pull for Cloud on his EX Plus banner, and then you might get Vincent along the way, who's obviously much newer. If you wanted Squall or Lightning, there are better times to pick them up, so I would avoid them for that reason. And unfortunately, I'd say the same thing about Noel and Locke's banner. If you get one of their EXs for free, fantastic. That's an amazing pull you just got there. I personally hope I get one of them in the free pull and break the trend that I've never pulled a free EX before. But while they're really good, like, Locke, all of his problems are fixed, like, but he's just not exceptional enough this close to the next major jump in difficulty that I would go out of my way to pull for him. Noel, if you don't have like Noctis or anything, or Vayne or anything like that, then yeah, he's a great guy to pick up. He's going to be somewhat useful within the first couple of months of Chaos, but again, you may want to save your resources for Charlotta, who's not going to be that far away now. We're talking a matter of like 3 to 4 weeks, and she's a character that very, very large numbers of players are going to be pulling for, and then straight after her comes EX Plus. And who knows what spanner they're going to throw in the works for us between now and then. So my advice to you is hold off for a week. Like, do your free pull, see what you get out of that. Hold off for a week and see what your resources look like. If you've got a large abundance of resources, then you could give this a pull or two. I probably won't, unless I do quite well out of the free pull and want to get some more of their kit. But it's just not a major absolute must pull. It's a really nice banner. It's not mandatory. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you ever so much for watching. As I said, I've actually split the banners that are coming out this week into 2 videos. So don't forget to check out my Ace, Aerith and Sarah banner video when that turns up as well. And if you do decide to pull on either the Startup banner or the Locke and Noel banner, then I wish you all the best of luck. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications for any videos to do with Opera Omnia or TCG or any Final Fantasy related content that you guys want to see. And of course, don't forget to subscribe just in general, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye!